What if I were to tell you that, despite not getting a sniff of the Champions League, the Qatari takeover of PSG has been a resounding success? And for exactly the same reason, the Saudi Pro League will also be a resounding success. However, this has nothing to do with football. In fact, it's far from it. Bear with me, I can explain. But in order to explain, we first have to see it through the eyes of most people. So let's go. Saudi Arabia stumbled across oil in the 1930s, and ever since then, they have made billions of dollars per month, primarily by exporting it. So, if they've really wanted to become a footballing powerhouse, why are they investing in middle-aged European stars who remember life before smartphones and social media? Surely it would make more sense to spend these billions on academies, hence setting themselves up for long-term growth in the footballing industry instead, right? Didn't China try exactly the same strategy with the Chinese Super League and completely fail? Well, hang on. You see, Saudi Arabia's true motives aren't quite what you think, and believe it or not, everything so far is going exactly to plan. As many of you may know, Saudi Arabia has gone on a bit of a spending spree in recent years, specifically when it comes to sports-related ventures. These include the acquisition of Newcastle United, the merger of Live Golf with the PGA Tour, hosting several prestigious boxing events, and luring a new high-profile player to the Saudi Pro League seemingly every day. Many will be quick to point out sportswashing, which we'll cover in a little bit, but the main reason for this sudden upturn in sports investment is much deeper than that. Saudi Arabia stands at a crucial crossroads, a nation in danger, heavily reliant on oil to fuel its economy. A staggering 42% of its GDP and a jaw-dropping 84% of its export income stem from oil. Meanwhile, on the other side of the globe, the USA boasts the most diversified economy in the world. But why is this a problem? Well, oil cannot and will not last forever. As it stands, Saudi Arabia is predicted to run out of oil by the year 2100, a mere 77 years away. While that may seem distant, there's an even greater and more imminent cause for concern. Reports from the energy transition think tank Carbon Tracker found that long before the 2100 expiry date, Saudi Arabia will face a crippling 44% shortfall in government revenues. The world is changing rapidly, so much so that some say oil may not even be profitable by the year 2050. The culprit? A sweeping global revolution towards renewable energy. The rise of electronic vehicles and evolving energy policies further decrease the need for oil at all. So, long story short, Saudi Arabia needs to establish new sources of income, and fast. The ticking time bomb of Saudi Arabia's oil reserves looms large. Once the oil runs dry, Saudi Arabia risks losing relevance altogether. But they have a plan. Saudi Vision 2030 is a transformative roadmap launched by the Saudi government in April 2016. With 7 key objectives including, surprise surprise, moving away from oil, the vision aims to achieve significant economic and social change in the country by 2030, and they've chosen football as their escape route. But wait, how does football relate to economic diversification? To grasp the full picture, we need to take a look into the unique world of the football economy in Saudi Arabia. Let me introduce you to the Saudi Public Investment Fund, which is a government-owned investment fund that manages and invests money on behalf of the whole country. In June, they announced the takeover of the kingdom's 4 biggest clubs: Al Hilal, Al Ahly, Al Nassr, and Al Ittihad. So, in other words, these 4 clubs have been turned into companies, all backed by the funds of the Saudi Arabian government itself. As part of a 20-year deal, the government's ambitious plan aims to revolutionize the Saudi Pro League, with one critical focus: transforming Saudi Arabia into a global hub for entertainment and tourism. And what better way to do that than by bringing the most followed human on Instagram to your country? Indeed, the government has taken a bold step, unveiling an intricate plan for the acquisition of several high-profile players. at least 3 top foreign players to be signed for each of the top 4 clubs, and another 8 to be distributed amongst the remaining 12 teams. Yes, you heard that right. The government itself is investing in multiple teams across the league. This is not a sincere effort to dominate football. The goal is to provide Westerners, who usually have more diversified, sustainable economies, with a reason to deal with Saudi Arabia beyond oil. And this is the exact reason why, from the Qatari point of view, the takeover of PSG was a game changer. With one eye on the upcoming 2022 World Cup, hosted in Qatar, the country strategically invested in PSG, recognizing the club as a powerful platform to elevate their country's image and brand on the global stage. PSG was a blank canvas at the time, a young club struggling to make waves in Ligue 1. But they had one thing above almost every club in Europe: their location. Paris is known around the world by everyone. Even your mum knows Paris. The investment not only redefined PSG's trajectory, but also forged a bond between the Qatari and French government, earning admiration across the West. In June 2011, PSG became Qatar's prized possession, having been acquired for 80 million euros. 12 years, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Kylian Mbappe, Neymar Jr, and Lionel Messi later, and PSG is now worth 50 times more, all despite underwhelming in the Champions League for the entirety of that time. You see, PSG is not a football club anymore. It's a fashion icon, a brand. Ever since Jordan's collaboration with PSG in 2018, PSG has been the cool club in Europe. You'll even catch American kids who say football is for girls in a PSG shirt. Their true aim was never to win the Champions League. Instead, countries now look at Qatar and say, hey, you know what? These guys have got something going on. Look at the names they've attracted and the companies they work with. And the icing on the cake? The greatest player of all time, a PSG player, lifting the World Cup in the home of the PSG owners. But this begs the question, haven't China tried something similar and completely failed? Well, not exactly. While many comparisons have been drawn between the Chinese Super League and the Saudi Pro League in recent months, many people are failing to see the distinct differences here. The CSL was essentially the government pushing businessmen to pursue football. It was all part of a grand attempt to elevate the CSL, established only in 2004, in a country where football doesn't even rank amongst the top 3 most popular sports. The ambitious goal was to catapult the CSL above Europe's top 5 leagues. They hoped that by attracting stars, they would inspire the youth of China to start playing, all in an attempt to eventually host and win the World Cup by 2050. Yet the dream began to unravel when the ruling Communist Party noticed a considerable amount of money flowing out of Chinese pockets and into the hands of Europeans, leading them to swiftly impose several rules which stopped the progress of the league in its tracks. The Saudi situation is a whole different ballgame. It involves the government itself investing in these clubs via the PIF, not them incentivizing their businessmen to invest in clubs. Therefore, if the Saudi league fails, it becomes not just a problem for the league, but a nationwide concern. Saudi Arabia also has much deeper pockets than China for this project and a much greater need to invest given the oil issue that we've already seen. So, don't expect to see the Saudi government pulling out anytime soon. Furthermore, the choice of players pursued by the Chinese league didn't quite generate the same buzz. Signing Oscar and Hulk isn't quite the same as signing Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, this is the point where some would say, Saudi are only investing in so many high-profile names because they're trying to sportswash. Wait, what even is sportswashing? Sportswashing is the practice of using sports events or investments to improve a country's image or to divert attention away from negative issues. In other words, people would look at Saudi Arabia and be like, yeah, they may have a bad human rights record, but they've got Karim Benzema, so I don't care. But have you guys noticed something? Ever since Saudi Arabia began to heavily invest in football, even more attention has been drawn towards their issues. If anything, it's been the complete opposite of sports washing. Take Al Ettifaq's announcement video for the signing of Jordan Henderson, for example, in which they appear to have greyed out the LGBT armband that he was wearing. They're clearly not concerned about censoring their beliefs, and as a result, the comments are flooded with criticism. In short, the Saudi government isn't bothered by these allegations. They're more than aware that football is the greatest show on earth, and by investing in it, along with investments in other sports, they aim to become the global hub for entertainment and tourism. And this all comes back to the original problem: diversifying from oil.